We have money, so music don't have no dead spots. Tell me whenever you're ready. Listen, when it comes to television, right, and we all on TV, you have to have this cue. You know how when they in the background, the production and everything.
That's why you hook it on.
Hey, listen, who cares? This is all going in there too.
I know it is. You know I don't leave none of that out. Oh, so you are. You want to?
Yes. There you go. See the person behind, like in action.
We ain't got the person. We ain't got.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special edition, a special episode of Don't Get Emotional. What happened is, oh my bad.
Don't get emotional?
Welcome to TF3 Airport. Is what? 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 They say what we famous for. That's why I'm taking y'all on this verbal tour. First stop, Providence Place Mall, 3 floors of stores to shop for you and yours. Don't have a ride, you can take the Ripper. Anywhere you need to go, the bus will get you. Cranston, Warwick, even Newport, Kennedy Plaza, where you can find the ice court. Y'all know Brown University, famous. J-Dub, PC, you alright? Famous. Students from everywhere come here to go there. The capital's Providence. Dante is in your ear. Home of the Blue Bug, Iggy's and Thayer Street. Full of stores to shop on, places you can eat. Near is downtown P-Pack. Enjoy a show. The Dunk Water Fires. Other things you need to know. Can't forget Fat Hill for real. Hey, remember I do different podcasts.
He ain't had sleep, people. He ain't had no sleep.
The other side of things.
So it's what we're teaming up to do. We're hosting an event coming up this the 22nd of September. We're hosting an event at Mixed Magic Theater for their new play that's coming out, Notes from the Field. Now, this is going to.
What did you say that again?
Notes from the Field.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Slow it down. Notes. Me.
That makes no sense. Anyway.
Notes, get it? Forget it.
Yeah. Anyway. But seriously, director Jonathan Pitts-Wiley of the Mixed Magic Theater, artistic director, is putting on a wonderful show. This show is going to stir up some emotions in all of us. It's going to reopen old wounds, but I believe it's a necessary conversation to have. It's about
an educational piece.
It is a very educational
piece.
It is actually an adaptation. Yeah, see, I can't even do it slow.
Me.
This is an adaptation of the original book, which was a collection of over 300 interviews, and it's politically based, it's racially based, it's
educational.
It's educationally based. It brings, like I said, it just sitting. We just came from the theater and we interviewed a couple of people. We interviewed both the directors and one of the actors, and just watching the rehearsal.
You could feel the energy. You could feel the intensity. It's like every piece they have a segment of basically what happened at that time, and they speaking on the piece of what happened at that time. So it's more like talking about like Trayvon Martin in that one.
No,
it's of that nature though.
It's of that nature. It's really getting the temperature check of life during these devastating moments, like the young man who
high intensity.
Yes, it relates very much to some of the crimes that are still happening, not just to the injustice of people of color, but the injustice of the system of the pipeline from schools to prisons is very heavily talking about that, how the society that we are in now and how it's driven. And people want to believe that things are changing, and they are in some aspects for the better, but there are still things that are very apparent that they're a class of people or a class of beings that want to keep holding on to a very dark and
but we ever do a disservice if we don't speak on it. Like recently, the play is going to be more of like speaking on what is sitting up there saying, if anyone went to school, is basically when you see these classes where they had the grade system, where it was like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Like if you had 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, they basically said the numbers of the people that was in 8-4s or 8-5s was how many prisons you knew to build.
I did not know that. That he said that to me the other day and it blew my mind. I was like, I knew about the third grade dropout theory. My mom gave me this book a long time ago, and basically we came up in that system. By the third grade, they literally just start pushing you along. They make you feel like it's literally a spoon-fed, cookie-cutout system that is made to just push you along and just shove you into where they want you to go. Like,
that's why the lack of education is basically, if you don't have the education, it's like you out there without a lifeguard in the waters.
Yes.
You can't swim, so basically you're gonna latch on to whatever you can latch on.
And they want you latching on to them. But yeah, like I said, this show is gonna kick up some raw emotions, because I was just watching small bits and pieces of it, and I had all types of emotions and
but hold up though, we're the start up of the show. They're gonna have to go see the show.
Oh yeah, you definitely gonna have to come out and see the show.
Come see the show, but the show is basically gonna be on this. Two things that we're gonna talk about, starting with recently y'all seen what happened with Tyreek Hill. He's a football player who was driving to work, and some people gonna have their say, and we're not here to take a side, we just talking about what happened. So as he on his way to work, he could have been speeding, which he was in the wrong. And he may have just said, just give me my ticket and go. But as you seen, they was overly aggressive on how they handled him. And he even said, what happened if I wasn't Tyreek Hill? Mm-hmm. What would have happened? And even with his teammates, and here's the funny part about the whole thing, these cops were, and I'm not saying they bad cops or not, but they was on the payroll of the Dolphins. So their job was to make sure that the players are getting and the people get what they need to get for the Dolphins. So when a teammate showed up, they never said that they played for the team. But even when a teammate showed up, they just wanted to cuff him. He even said, I had surgery on my knees, and look how they, I just had surgery, look how they handled him. So we don't want to sit up there and say the police officer was wrong or he was wrong, because everybody plays a part in what happens. But it could be excessive, because if he was just speeding and he didn't pose a threat, there's no reason why he should have been dragged out his car like that and handled the way he was handled.
Or the young man in North Carolina who they are still holding on to the story that he went out into the middle of the woods.
Oh, to say the story right. They said that he went to the store,
brought rope, then went out to somewhere
in the middle of the woods
and hung himself.
Without no cause or reason, with his families now. And this is basically what this play is about. Stories of this magnitude.
This is the perpetual, it's perpetually continuing to happen more and more frequently. And I think we're at a time where people are more conscious and aware and are no longer just sitting by. And in the interview that we had with the director, he says very close to that, if not the same thing. Like, those who want change have to do. There were so many moments in the interview, you'll see soon enough, because we're gonna run back to that interview as well. So after we're done here, we're gonna fade out, and you're gonna see our interview with Jonathan Pitts-Wiley and the co-director and one of the actors, Mr. Jay Walker, and notes from the field, people.
Just for you to know, we're the hosts for Saturday, September 22nd. But the play is going on to October 13th.
So
the times is that Saturday is 7:30 p.m., Sunday 3:30 p.m., and Friday 7:30 p.m.
So
the Saturday 7:30,
Sunday is the matinee at 3:30.
So basically, and it's a family affair. It's not offensive to no one. It's teachable to everyone. If you don't have anything to do during this time period and you're looking for something to do, come join us at Mixed Magic Theater.
Slow it down. Da 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 da.
Mixed Magic Theater.
There you go.
And I'm thinking about, because it really is intense. And I was just like, I wonder how many people are gonna cry. I wonder
Bro, I wanted to cry. I ain't gonna lie
Right.
to you. Like it pulled at the heartstrings for me, and it was literally them talking through their lines, seeing the set, and it was like, oh, this is gonna do one of those numbers on you. Oh, I can't wait. So
there's another thing too before you go.
I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna state it again. September 22nd, come down there. We are
Join us.
hosting. Join us. We gonna be there. We gonna pass around tissues. If you gonna cry, we all gonna cry, bro.
I cry, you cry.
Together.
Here's something else that y'all don't know and you can look up too. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there was a judge who was in collaboration with somebody where they was actually paying him to sentence people to go to prison. Because people don't realize how much money they make off prisoners being in prison.
It's called the prison industry for a reason.
Correct.
Because half of the people that are in prison are literally working for pennies for giant companies like Bolin, Pierre Cardin, Honeywell. They're getting cheap labor out of every inmate in these prison systems, and it's literally slavery. Let's call it what it is. It's literally slavery. They found a way to abolish slavery, but call it something else.
But here's the thing, people, bottom line. We're in a generation where a lot of things being revealed, and the question is, did you just sit back and watch it happen without doing anything or saying anything? Or you want to be one of them people that say, you know what can I do about it? Well, here's a start. These people have put the information and the education out there. You could come and join us in attending and learning, and then maybe there's something within that play that you could see yourself and say, you know what? I do want to help beyond what I'm actually seeing right here. You don't know. So that's why we play in our part as well. We believe in what's taking place. We believe in what's happening. And we using our television platform, our YouTube platform, our Spotify platform, because that's where all these is going to go.
Also for our platform on
Wesley Beats
in Maryland, the Maryland radio show.
Yeah.
So please, and again, we'll bring the tissue. Come on out with us on the 22nd of September and watch this powerful, moving, intellectual notes from the field. And now, without further ado, our interview with Jonathan Pitts-Wiley and the co-director and the actor known as Jay Walker, who is part of this ensemble for Notes from the Field.
I'm your host, Dante Martin. This is the director.
Jakeem Parker, how you doing? I know people don't see me as much anymore, so I'm going to give you a closer look at my face as I go to the fade out. Fade out! So, my question, or what I would like you to talk about, is basically introducing yourselves, your part in this play, and its importance, and a little, ode to when it's going to be happening. So, when you're ready.
So my name is Jonathan Pitts-Wiley. I'm the artistic director here at Mixed Magic, and I have the good pleasure of being able to co-direct this show, Notes from the Field, by the tremendously talented Anna DeVere Smith. And I guess I'm going to kick it over to you. I'll let you introduce yourself, my friend.
Wonderful. Hi, I'm Sunny Wong, and I'm one of the co-directors for Notes from the Field. and I'm very excited to be here. This is my first time working with Mixed Magic Theater, and this is my directorial debut, so I'm very grateful for Jonathan for giving me that opportunity.
So yeah, this show is timely in some pretty compelling and unfortunate ways, I would say. But Anna Devere Smith has a long history of doing these sort of documentary, dramatic works, and in this particular piece, it's it's derived really coming out of the upheaval from 2015 with the murder of Freddie Gray, and with the fallout from all of that, but also on a larger level, it's really talking about the complexity in the structural complications, we'll say, of our criminal justice system and our education system, and how they are really, unfortunately, tethered in some ways that are inextricable at this point. I don't think that's to say that it could never be undone, but I am one of those people who say, when people say, "Oh man, the system's broken," I offer that I'm like, actually, it's working by design. It's working as in many ways it was intended to. So to be able to do this show at any point is incredible, but also to do this work in an election year, when so many of these same issues are not simply social issues, but they're issues of the ballot, and what is the future that America wants for itself. And it's really just the format of the show, I'll let Sunny speak to this a bit, is that it's these wonderful distillations, because it's really a bunch of interviews, right? And so I think it's over 250 interviews, and she called 20 of them, of 250, and then sort of did excerpts and things. And like I said, I'll let you talk a bit about it.
So it's really wonderful. So most of them are interviews, and some of them are taken from bits like James Baldwin and the Jamal Harrison Bryant piece. So she's kind of carefully taken the words of all of these people over these 250 interviews, and she's woven together kind of the story of how the prison, the school to prison pipeline, affects people from all different angles of the story. And there's a through line of the hardships, but also a sense of hope for each person. And when they speak about their experiences, not only the hardship that they started with, but how they've worked to kind of, how would I say, get their voices heard, and how they've been able to, make their own lives better, carve their way for themselves and for other people to kind of, take off.
Yeah, so because, what a lot of this show and this series is really about searching for the American character. That's what Anna Devere Smith truly talks about. So it's not just this show, but also Twilight Los Angeles, Fires in the Mirror, Let Me Down Easy, and they all deal with sort of different aspects. Some is like, the medical realities, the sort of the medical complex within the United States of America, or specifically, what happened in Crown Heights or what happened with the LA riots. And this, again, in particular, really focuses on that school to prison pipeline in such a way that, it's a fascinating snapshot, because it is really one of those things of the more things change, the more they stay the same. I think that what was really captivating about doing this work is just the ways in which we're having the same conversations, and we're having, that we're covering the same ground. And frankly, it's frustrating. I won't lie about that. But it also is proof of the importance, right? You know, it's work that needs to be done, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
You know, I look forward to when something like a Notes from the Field is a relic of the past. And so it's still worth doing, like on some like never forget sort of thing. But it's not a relic. It's not something that, you know, sort of we're pulling from the time capsule and like, oh man, remember when? And, you know, because you have Freddie Gray in 2015, and then you have George Floyd in 2020. So like, what are we talking about? Right? Are they effectively different things? No, I don't think so. I think that they speak to a lot of the same ills and issues that this story talks about, and I appreciate that it offers a look. And I think, you know, Anna Devere Smith has a take on it. I mean, all of these pieces, to sort of use in visual gallery language, they hang together. All of the pieces are powerful by themselves, but collectively, you know, they really are sort of an oral exhibition, you know, and I think that there's a certain hopefulness that she has in a way that I find inspiring, but it's not that hopefulness that is derived from a sense of naivete. There are some people who are hopeful because they're just merely naive and they're just like, oh, it'll turn out great. I don't think that it's really speaking to that. I think what makes Smith's work powerful is that there's always this sense of possibility that is out in front of us if we go get it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what makes it aspirational but grounded.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Did you have other thoughts there?
No, but just going back to what you said about it just being continual history, it's just like what Sherilyn says, like 20 years ago, people think that they missed it now, but we're still living in the moment. And then 20 years from now, they're going to be looking back at these pieces, and if it's still relevant, we'll just have to keep pushing.
Yeah, and you know, you want it to not be, and you also understand, you know, what I appreciate about, again, Smith's work, but what a lot of these characters, and again, or people, they're not really characters, they're people, they're real people, but a lot of these voices will say,
Yep.
What I really appreciate is a recognition of the structure while also a sense of personal responsibility. You know, and some of that is from the like, just keep your mouth shut when the police are talking to you, and some of I'm like, oh man, yeah, for your survival, but also you got rights as an American citizen. But you know, is that altogether different than what Jamal Harrison Bryant is talking about when it's like, get yourself up out the box? Taos Proctor, Stephen Campos, there's this sense of personal responsibility that I really appreciate, because it is still understood against the backdrop and in the context of a complex system that is, in many respects, working by design. You know, and I just think that that's great, because I do think it is a both and. Is the system messed up? It absolutely is. Do you still have a responsibility to not even so much work within the system, but to, well, either work within it or work against it, but it still demands agency. Right? You know, you're not supposed to, you know, sit there and just like, well, just get overrun. You know, and I appreciate that most of these, all of them, there's just this really powerful sense of agency. Or if the character, you know, I think, you know, with the Amanda Ripley, for example, I don't know that that's so much about agency, but a recognition
Yes.
of agency and the importance thereof, I think is is really powerful. So, the underlying thing is you must do something. Okay? You want things to improve, then you must do. Whatever that thing is, you must do. It's not simply going to occur. You can't count on that. You can't bank on that. And certainly in how this show was curated, by the author, I think that unifying narrative is powerful in a moment when it is very easy. It's not just this moment, gosh, but it is very easy to feel like there is nothing that you can do, that these systems are inevitable. But in point of fact, these systems are creations, right? They're built by people with their own set of rules, this, that, and the third. And it's like, well, if it's built by a person and I'm a person, that means that I can do something, Now, how that manifests itself is different for everyone. There are people who can make systemic change because of their platform. Then there are people like a Kevin Moore who said, we got to record it. We got to protect ourselves in the best way that we can. And you do that by doing what it is that you can do. And so I appreciate very much that the power and the way that this show speaks to empowerment, while still, again, recognizing the structures that make empowerment very difficult.
Absolutely. It's just like the Bryan Stevenson piece, you can only recognize and see the urgency of the need for change by observing and accepting the broken who have been affected by the systems.
Absolutely. And notions of accountability. And that the accountability is individual and collective. We all have to do something, in order to affect the change that we want to affect.
Bravo. Thank you.
Hello, I am Jaybird Walker. In this production of Notes from the Field, I portray Michael Tubbs, who was city councilman in Stockton, California at the time of his interview for this piece. He's mayor there now. And I also portray the famous author James Baldwin doing a section of an interview that he did with Dr. Margaret Mead called A Rap on Race. And, these pieces, this whole show is important because, I hear people on the right say that those of us on the left are making a big deal of racism and bringing racism back into the forefront when it was almost eradicated. And I think it's a very important message to get out there to people that racism wasn't almost eradicated. It was still very prevalent in society. And it needs to be spoken so that people know. There's some negative things. I don't really know how to say what I'm trying to say. There's some down areas in the show parts that make you feel sad or angry or things of that nature, but there's also a lot of hope in it. There's a lot of looks at how the problem can be addressed, or at least a willingness to do so. One particular piece, the end piece, is an interview with Congressman John Lewis, and at the end of it, he talks about making peace with a Klansman that beat him, and I think that's really the way forward, is to be able to make peace with those people who are opposing our right to be. And if they're willing, of course, because the other person made the initial movement towards that peace. But I think that if we can reach out to each other and just try to understand each other, because that's really the problem here. It's not that we don't understand, it's that we don't want to. And that's coming from both sides. And so I think that if we just try to reach out to each other and try to understand each other, that's how we get past it all. So I think that this piece is really important in laying that groundwork.